They are a professional marriage counselor. And today they're going to be doing justice to some questions, very, very important questions concerning marriage and the Proverbs 31 couple. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's show some love to Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Amaogu. Thank you so much. Please keep Thank you. Yes, have your seat, sir. Have your seat, man. Have your seat. I need a microphone. Okay. Welcome, sir. Welcome, man. The way you're shining, the way you're smiling, it's like this is another lover boy. Okay, lover man.
Oh yeah, he is.
The way you're even blushing, sir. Yeah. Sir, I've seen it. You're a lover man. I've seen it.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Welcome, sir. Welcome, man. All right. Because of time, we had about 2-3 questions, but because of time, I don't know, whatever we can achieve, we'll just do. So, the first question we have here is, what is your idea or definition of a balanced marriage? Any of you can? Yes.
Okay. Okay, let me
ladies
start.
first. Oh, yeah. Gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us, Pimo. Congratulations on your book launch. Let's begin with defining balance. Balance says an even distribution of weight, enabling someone to remain upright and steady. Another definition says a situation in which different elements are in correct proportions. I think when we talk about balance, sometimes we tend to look at equality. And I think equality tends to connote or project competition. And I think it shouldn't be that way. Because balance here for me is about being there to enable the other person to be able to stay steady. So it's about shared responsibility rather than equality. For me, it's about complementing. It's not a competition. Because if we say we are equal, there's a sense of this is what I'm doing and everyone is trying to get, their own share. But it's about us bringing our best forward. Shared responsibility in that sense. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Right, sir?
Okay, I think for me, balanced marriage is a marriage that those involved understand, or those involved, yeah, I'm right. I'm trying to speak like pastor now. They understand their purpose. When he was talking, he said something about marriage. If you look at how people approach marriage these days, we see marriage as a project, something you need to take the pause because the family expects you to be married. Your parents, they want you to be married. Your friends are getting married, so you have to get married. And then if someone asks you, why are you getting married? You don't know. You just want to be married and have children. I was speaking to someone, I said, if you're married, you have the children, you have the money, what next? You see, the what next is what most people don't understand. So a balanced marriage is a marriage where both of them understand that marriage is a means to an end, and that end is to express and to help each other fulfill God's purpose for their life. Amen. That's what marriage is about. So if you're married and your marriage has become a limitation to you expressing your God-given ability as a woman, as a man, then you're not living a balanced marriage. A balanced marriage is a marriage where each individual in the marriage has gone through the phase of independence. We have people who are at the phase of dependence, emotional dependence, spiritual dependence, financial dependence. They switch to interdependence. It's not going to work. It means you're going into codependence. So you need a man to tell you how much he loves you as a woman for you to function and believe in yourself. So if tomorrow he decides to tell you otherwise, you lose your self-image because you think he's the one that will define you. So you go through that phase of interdependence where you know who you are. So you're not going into marriage beggarly, either as a man or as a woman. You're going into marriage with confidence and tell the person, I have got so much value to offer. So if you walk away from me, you're missing out because you're missing the value I am supposed to bring to you. And I want to say this to women based on the culture where we are coming from. It seems like a man getting married to you, he's doing you a favor. Am I right? That's the mindset we have. But we need to change. I think this is what this book is about. To change the narrative, to change the mindset that when you are getting married to a man, you're doing each other a favor, I would say. Because you're bringing so much value. So, because of time, let's stop here. But a marriage that is balanced, like you said, is where everyone understands their definition of their purpose. They are independent, and they bring that independence to create interdependence, where they complement each other. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma. So in summary, you're saying a balanced marriage is not the one where you have competition, but you have complements. You're complementing one another, each other.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. The next question here is, you mentioned it already, so I'm glad we're going into it, talking about culture and tradition. Yes, most of us here are Africans, I guess. Yeah. So this one says, based on culture and tradition, do you think a woman's role is more important than that of a man, considering the Proverbs 31 couple?
You can start, yeah.
Okay, based on culture, I think it depends on the culture we are looking at. From African culture, like you said, most of us are Africans. Based on our culture, yes, the woman's role is more important, or even more, than the man. Am I right? Based on culture. The reason is based on culture. The reason is, if the marriage fails based on culture, who will be blamed? Man or the woman? Based on culture, our culture, if the man goes out there and gets involved in sexual relationship with someone else, who is to be blamed? Because she doesn't satisfy him. That's culture. But the question is, what culture are we supposed to build our relationship on? Jesus culture, Bible culture, or the culture of our society?
I think there's a lot of burden on women. Like you're saying, there's a lot of burden. So women are expected to go into marriage from our culture. You're the prayer warrior, you're the provider, you have to fix, you're the Mrs. Fix-It. In fact, anything fails is the woman's responsibility. And I think in that instance, certain men take the back door, and all they do, let me retrieve my statement, practice selective responsibility. So they become responsible on certain matters that would fuel their ego from a cultural standpoint, and they decide to take the back seat on certain matters where they feel that is easily the woman's responsibility. And I think this has created a great divide in marriages, where we no longer see our marriage from the eyes of God. We don't see our marriage as this is us coming together to fulfill a purpose that is beyond us. Because a marriage is not designed for our own enjoyment. There is a reason why God has put people together. And that's because He wants to live out purpose in this life. So if you come into marriage with so much laxity, so much casuality, what is the kingdom assignment? Why are you together? That is the question. So a lot of what we do, we're trying to mirror culture. But are we created to live based on where we are coming from? Because if we look at what God has designed us to do here, marriage is a massive platform. But sadly, it has now become an opportunity where we begin to compete with each other. We begin to allow ourselves to be drawn into certain things of life, or the ways that the society defines marriage and puts labels on us. And that's not what marriage should be. We should be the ones setting the pace. We should be the ones setting the tone. You know, where we come together and people look at us and they say, wow, if this is what unity looks like, I want to be a part of this. But now we have come to a place where marriage has been so casualized from a cultural standpoint, where there is a lot of burden, and it has created this divide where couples no longer see it that we are in this together. No, this is what I have to do and this is what you have to do. But it's not about that, because no marriage is the same. No grace is the same. You might be graced differently. In certain relationship, you find that, and let me just give this example. Let me just stop here and give this example. Because a lot of times some men say, I should be the provider. I should be the one making all the money. I should be the one, giving you the money. And then you find in certain marriages where a man stops a woman from working. She stops a woman from living her full potential. Now, if we look at Proverbs 31 woman, they said, the husband talks about her at the gates. He was an enabler of her vision. Why would you want to stifle a woman who is full of so much potential? Do you understand that it is not about her? It is about what the Bible says, 1 shall chase 1,000 and 2 shall chase 10,000. So if you decide the woman is not going to work, what if she has the potential to multiply on a level that you're not graced to do? What happens? That means you have self-sabotaged God's amazing plan, God's amazing purpose, just because you are looking at your marriage from a cultural lens. That is not God's design for marriage. I think I'll stop here.
Awesome.
Can I ask you?
Yes, you can, sir.
You said it's only 2 questions, so let me add to
Well, I've been told from the headquarters that I can do the 3rd question.
Okay, so let me add to that. I think the question our doctor here asked, is it my money? You asked the question, she answered.
Yeah.
My money is my money as a woman. His money is our money. Is a cultural statement. Because
Thank you, sir.
The reason I the reason I said that is that if we look at marriage as one, we are one when it comes to every other thing. Sexual relationship, we are one. We are one when it comes to our name, Amalgos. You called Amalgos, but she was not Amalgos before. We are one. Why are we not one when it has to do with money?
This question.
Because if someone asks me a question, the person says, if your wife decides to leave you now and take the house you guys have, so to speak, and what will you do? Or sue you for divorce or whatever? I said, well, if she decides to take the house, fine and good, because if I die, it's still her house. So she decided to take it early. Do you understand my point? Because if you have a mindset that what you have belongs to your wife, what she has belongs to you, it doesn't matter who takes control of it. So if I make all the money and she doesn't, it's not my money. I can't just go out there and spend it. It is our money. So I have to be accountable to her because it's our money. If she makes the money, it's not her money. In fact, it's not even our money. It's God's money given to us to fulfill purpose on earth. So that's why for me, I always say every pound counts. Mm-hmm. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, before you spend it, ask yourself, am I spending this money according to God's purpose? Mm-hmm. Because 1 pound can solve a problem somewhere, but for you, it's just a pound. Yeah. So as a wife, before you go to the boutique and look at all those shopping they are doing, discount and whatever, ask yourself, am I spending this family money the right way? Even though you think it's your money. So my point of view is, let's do marriage from God's point of view. And as a man, being a leader or being the head is not about providing money.
Yep.
Because in this country, I will tell you, a woman can live independent of you because she can even make more money than you. Now, leadership is about providing spiritual guidance. If you have missed that part as a man, you're not providing direction, vision, and you think it's about your money. That's why you would want to drag to prove to him that I am the man. The only way to prove you're the man is when you tell her, this is what God is saying.
Absolutely.
And it happens. You say it today, you say it tomorrow, this is what God is saying, and it's happening. She would align.
Yep.
That's what it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You know, your answers, we're actually bringing out some other interesting questions, but we'll coordinate ourselves. Yes. Thank you so much. God bless you. So the last question, and we'll just do that in 2 minutes. What would you consider is the greatest shortfall among today's Christian marriage? What would you consider is the greatest shortfall amongst today's Christian marriage?
I think I will bring it back to what PD said before. People do marriage without knowing the purpose of marriage. Today's Christians do marriage from cultural lens. Today's a lot of Christians, not everyone though. We do marriage because it is our thing. We are not seeing it from the point of it is God's thing. Marriage is, Paul says, it is a mirror or a typology of the relationship between God and the church. So as a man, if you don't live like Christ in your home, you're failing, and that's what's happening. So I always say to myself, if I am the Christ and she's the church, what will Christ do? Christ forgive. The Bible says in Romans chapter 5 verse 8, even while God commanded his love towards us, even when we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Do you know what that means? Advanced forgiveness. So even before your wife does anything, you have it in your heart to forgive. And the responsibility of building the marriage and making it work lies more on the man, because Jesus is always chasing after us, even when we run away. So if you don't mirror your relationship with the eye of you as a man, being the Christ in that relationship, you're failing. And as a woman, if you don't mirror yourself as the church is always submissive to Christ. Not out of coercion, but submission, because you choose to. That is the problem in today's church. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Let me just follow up from the point.
Okay.
Like he talked about submission, and he says it's not compelling. You know, there is a way you love someone into submission, and that's what Christ does for us. You know, there's a songwriter that says, all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, he chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And you know, when you think about the reckless love of Christ, you can't help it. You're submissive regardless. You do it effortlessly. And the other thing I want to say, just to add to that point, is that if we understand the privilege that God has gifted to us to share somebody's fraction, life is finite. Do you realize? And God gives us an opportunity to share somebody's fraction of somebody's eternity in this life. Make it count.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. We are glad. Thank you so much.